All right. Hello, everybody. These two guys need no introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway real quick. Have Scott O'Neill here, the CEO of LIV Golf. Bubba Watson, many-time golf tournament champion, captain and owner of the Range Goats.
Two-times Masters champion.
Two-times Masters champion.
2012, 2014.
I got to say, Bubba, it's still sinking in for me to introduce golfers with their team name. It's not something that I'm totally used to. I imagine for you, it's old hat at this point. But what was your biggest adjustment? 2022, you made the jump over to LIV. What has been the biggest adjustment for you?
Truthfully, there's no adjustment. The fun factor is being a captain or owner, however you want to word it, being able to interact with three guys that are pulling for each other, and trying to put knowledge into some of these young kids, and trying to teach them about how to be a good person, and then that golf is just a sport. And so you're trying to give them some knowledge. You're trying to give them some energy going forward, try to help them in their careers. Like Matthew Wolf is 26 now, just newly married. So you're just trying to give him some advice on life, and hopefully he doesn't go through all the rocky steps that I went through.
Scott, there's been some news today, a couple hours ago. LIV Golf announced events are moving from 54 holes to 72 holes. There's some subtext to that news about official world golf ranking points. What can you tell us about the reasoning behind that decision and what it means for you guys moving forward?
Well, first off, thank you for having me, Evan. And to Scott, Soshnik, who's here. You're both longtime friends. And to sit alongside one of the great mentors that I've been around, and Bubba Watson, is quite a treat. Most of you don't know, you just see him on the golf course, but if to define him as a golfer doesn't begin to define the man that you have in front of you. Just as a leader, as a mentor, as a teacher, as a coach, as a dad, as a husband, he's an extraordinary example of what it means to be more and leveraging the game that you happen to be world-class in and at to make the world a bit better. So it's quite a pleasure to call him a partner in my business. In terms of 72 holes, it's a pretty natural extension. You know, I've been in this business forever and a day, and I worked in the NHL, and to think a game 100 years old would change over time to 3-on-3, to make the two-line pass now acceptable would be unthinkable 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Baseball, for those of you who just watched the World Series, most of you did, given their ratings, but to see a game like the granddaddy of them all, the game that will never change, used to have two separate leagues with two different rule sets. Now puts a runner on second to start extra innings and has a pitch clock. Unthinkable. When I grew up in basketball as a hand check, you actually couldn't move when you were a smaller guard. If you had one of those big, strong guys with their hand in your hip, you literally could not move. And then somebody who was very smart decided, man, what if we open up this game? What if? What if we let the beauty and athleticism really showcase itself? And that is the modern NBA today. Three-point line helped as well. And so you look at the history of sports, and they've all evolved, and they've all shown different ways to keep changing and growing. We're 4 years old. So as we talk about all the time, we have quite a, I would say, in a nice way to say it, vocal player group, would you say, Bubba? Yeah. Good input. I never have to even ask. And it's wonderful to have that. You know, we spend a lot of time on the road. You know, this is not a league that is in the U.S. The PGA Tour is an incredible sports league, incredible. You know, it's 43 some odd events around the U.S., I think 1 and 2 in Canada, 1 in Mexico. And we start our season in Riyadh, and then we go to Australia, and then we go to Hong Kong, and we're in Korea, and we're in Singapore, and Mexico City, and the UK. I mean, it's it's just a different experience, and we get a lot of time together. And that time allows us to think, how do we best optimize this young, growing business? And so for us, given the results we've had, and we're opening up an event in South Africa, and it sold out at a blink of an eye. Australia, 100,000 tickets, sold out as a snap of a finger. And so for us, Indianapolis, same thing, 60,000 seats sold out. And so for us, we think more content is better, you know, more opportunity to sell seats, more content on television, more content for our marketing partners. We had an incredible adding Salesforce and Visa and Rolex, and I mean, there's a HSBC and all these incredible blue chip companies into the fold. It gives us kind of an opportunity to kind of explore and think about, well, what is the next canvas, and do we need more of it?
Live Roman numerals for 54. Does that get changed now that it's not 54 holes
I had my brother send me the 72 Roman numerals.
LXII.
Yeah, he said, "Is this next?" I'm like, if we can pronounce it. No.
But 54 is for the perfect golf.
It is.
The perfect golf, what is that?
It's the perfect.
Birdie every hole.
Oh.
So that's what the 54 stands
Kim
for.
Jong-un would say perfect golf is a little lower.
It's 18, but...
Yeah, it's 18,
Yes.
exactly.
Right.
But for mortals out there,
we say 54, so that's what the 54 is.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
So the name will hold.
Understood.
Yeah.
So Scott, when I told some folks that I was doing this panel this week, a lot of people asked me the same question. I'm sure it's a question you get asked a lot as well. Where do things stand right now with the PGA Tour? Is merger talks still happening? You're 10 months into the job. Are you thinking about this as a standalone business for the near-term future? What is your thinking right now about what LIV looks like in terms of its independence in the next year or 2 years?
Yeah, well, I'd say over the 10 months, it's been an incredible journey. When I walked in, it was a relatively fractured business. The industry was a bit in, I don't know, how would you say, like upheaval. And so I spent a lot of time early on just, my brother has a saying, he says, an ounce of humility goes a long way. And so I pretty much went to the different stakeholders in the business, whether that be media network executives or bankers and those who run the majors, the other golf leagues around the world, the other tours around the world, with just a really simple message is like, we're here to complete, not compete. We're here to be part of the ecosystem. Let me tell you what I think that looks like, and let me hear what you think that's look like, and let's see if we can find some common ground and move the business together. Because I would much rather compete with tennis or cricket or football around the world than with each other, because it's not good business, quite frankly. And I think everybody, got that word. And if you look at the industry today, you'll see the people who sit atop it are very different than the ones that were there even 2 years ago. And I wasn't without I'm usually one that's very much transparent. I always say there's no genie behind the curtain. I have no tricks up my sleeve. But Sam Kennedy's in the back, and I did send my 2 daughters to go intern for Sam, who's with SSG and a big investor in the PGA Tour. And I promised everyone it was just a coincidence, but it did give us a chance to talk about life and family and golf and how the world might evolve. And the good news is then they hired Brian Rolap, who's an extraordinary executive, a longtime NFL executive. And we went to school together. He's a good friend. And I find him smart, strategic, balanced, focused, and has got a good beat on what he's going to do. And I think the two of us have talked a few times, and generally we have a common view on what could be or should be the landscape of golf over the next several years, and we both agreed that we were going to keep those conversations between us. And so far, it's been that way, and I hope it stays that way. But I think there's an opportunity for the whole golf world to come together and grow this pie. I just had this notion, I've had this sense in just about every part of the business I've ever worked in. It's just, you can have a scarcity mentality or abundance mentality, and I have very much an abundance mentality. And that's just a very different way of walking through life. And the abundance mentality is just together we can do more and grow the pie together, as opposed to this is mine, it's scarce, I can't touch it, I can't move. And I think generally in sports, there's a lot of that. And I think in golf, once we adopt that abundance mentality as an industry, I think we'll get a lot further, a lot faster.
One of the things that I think has created more abundance recently is the growth of YouTube golf. It really feels like the last few years there's been a whole kind of extension of the sport that's happening on social media. Bubba, I'm curious, when you look at that, is that all welcome? Is there a part of you that feels like it's taking away from the professional version? When you look at the tremendous popularity of big personalities in the golf world outside of the professional players, how do you feel about that?
I love it. When you think about the game of golf, where I grew up and how I grew up, where we are today, we've made golf at a whole new level. I mean, people are watching on YouTube. It doesn't matter who's watching or why you got involved in the game. I think it's pushing the game to a whole new level. And so anytime creators or anytime people can to love the game like that and push people to it, especially the extra talent that they push to it, that become professionals later in life, is great. It's great for the game. The only way to grow it is is for the world to be watching, and the world is watching from our standpoint, from YouTube standpoint, from PGA to European Tour to Australia. Everybody's watching it. So I think it's great that they're jumping on board and getting involved and want to come and be part of the energy that we're doing at LIV Golf.
And Scotty, you guys recently did the duels product, right, which was a blending of the professionals and the creator side. What was that? What was the takeaway there? What did the numbers look like? I assume we're going to see more of that moving forward.
Yeah, so I started this role on January 1st of 2025, and our first event was 30 days later. And so I can tell you that I was scrambling for the better part of the first 6 months to try to figure out a new sport, which I'd done a few times, and figure out, how to manage what we were doing, how to figure out how we build a business from this business. And one of our short-term fixes was the duels, which essentially picked the top golf influencers, and they paired them with the top players in the world, and they played like a skins game style tournament against each other. And it did really well in terms of views. You can't put a Band-Aid on a broken arm, and expect to be throwing a ball the next day, So from our perspective, is like what we're doing in this off season, quite frankly, is taking a step back and putting some people who are much smarter than I am on the case. Is what is the long-term content strategy, what that might look like. Will duels play a role in that or not? And how do we take advantage of these incredible platforms? And the good news is being a 4-year-old league, we can just call our friends at the NBA and the NFL and the PGA Tour and the Major League Baseball and say, okay, well, how does it work? Well, when you're talking to and fortunately in a game like golf, which I think it's the most important sport in the world, there isn't anybody you cannot talk to, can't get to, can't play around a golf with anywhere in the world at any time. And when you have a calling card like Bubba Watson and his dear peers and friends around the world, it's quite a gift. And so when we're looking for information or opportunity to build a strategy like we are in our content strategy, we have to do our homework. It just does not appear. It doesn't just appear in your brain. You actually have to do the work. And that's where we're spending a lot of our time now. And it's refreshing, I will say. And I love being on the road, and I love the travel, and I love the events. I can't get enough of it. But man, when I came home, I just was like, okay, let's reset. Let's get after this. And we started, and now we're starting to prepare and to see the traction and action and energy in the office every day is pretty inspiring. So to answer on the duels, I loved it. I thought it was really wonderful. I think there's some great elements from it. The response from the YouTube community and the golf community was incredible. It was off the charts. The question is like, how do we become the most dominant force in YouTube golf? That's a better question to ask than should we do duels again? And that's what we're trying to solve for. We plan on being here forever and a day. And if you're here forever and a day and you have a long view, it's so liberating. Like, think of like how you can plan. Think of what your decision tree looks like. And having investors like the PIF, who in many of their businesses and many of their industries, they invest in have a 100-year plan. We don't, by the way, but they have a 100-year plan. Like, it's something that, in the West, we can't even think through. We can't even imagine.
Bubba, did you always feel like golf needed a bit of a refresh? If I told you 10 years ago that you would be in 2025 playing in events that had a petting zoo and rock music blasting on holes, would you have said, heck yeah? Or would you have said, well, I wonder what that's going to look like?
Well, you're asking me. I'm nuts. So, yes. I would. And I've always said, for 16 years, I played on the PGA Tour, same hotels, same cities, same tournaments, same things. My kids knew their routine, what they're doing when we traveled. And when I had the opportunity, and as a kid, I never dreamed of playing in the Olympics because golf wasn't in the Olympics. Now I'm an Olympian. And then now I'm a franchise owner of a golf team. That was never my dream as a kid because it wasn't there. There wasn't opportunity. And I jumped at the chance to be more creative, to own something, to be a part of something, to be outside the box and to create. And so I jumped at the chance. So I can't believe it was in my lifetime I got to do this, to be a part of this change. And it's not change to take over. It's change just to bring a different audience. Nobody's trying to take something away from other people. It's trying to grow the game altogether. And like Scott always says, is we're all trying to work together. The pie, we're all trying to make it better. More people watch. Around the world, we're well received and well loved, and we're close to what our ultimate goal is. We had a 10-year plan when I joined, and we're only 4 years in, so we've got ways to go. And it's not a 100-year plan. I think we're only at 95 right now. We've only talked all the way to 95. We haven't talked all the way to the next 500, but.
Yeah, it's amazing to think about. I just want to just tack on, if you don't mind. It's just like, what if, what if the values of golf can actually help the world, make the world better? Like, what if consistency and focusing on the flag, and what if resilience, if you ever play with me, or humility, that's another one I get from the sport. What if hard work? What if consistency? What if all these values? What if the more people played this amazing game? What if the world were better? And then what if to do that, you had to get out of the country club, because we do. And what if you added music and art and fashion and culture and food? And what if that just attracted a whole new generation of fans? Isn't that okay? That's what we're doing. And we're doing it around the world, because the best players have always played in the U.S. And all we're saying is we want to take them to the world. So we are not like stealing people's young children. We're not causing world problems and issues. We're not spreading a virus. We're literally trying to make the world better by taking these great, incredible players, like mentors, teachers, coaches, and people that you love, like, and respect, and take them to the world to spread this game. It's a really fun mission.
So I got to piggyback off him. Wait, is that? So you double piggyback. So the goats, my team, the Range Goats, and we have a petting zoo at some of the golf tournaments. We did it down. We had a party hole.
Can I just stop there?
No,
a petting
stop.
zoo. I just love that we have a petting zoo, because parents bring their children.
Can't get past the petting zoo.
Sorry.
So in Australia, we had the party hole, right? And then we had on the sixth hole.
Can you just explain the party hole? Because not everybody would know what a party hole is.
It's a party, but on the golf course. So it's where you basically make a football stadium, American football, I guess. And so you make a stadium, and there's a par 3, and it's a little bit. You try to get everybody excited about it. Music's blaring, you have walk-up songs. But then in Australia, we did a kids party hole, and so it's more friendly, I guess you'd say. But that's where the petting zoo was. It was on hole 6, so we had like 12 goats there, and so it was for our team. But with what he was saying, changing. So the goats, the Range Goats, what it stands for me is I took my team to Guatemala 2 years ago. We passed out goats. Every team we beat, we give a goat away outside the U.S. for nutritional reasons. We went to a village, gave a goat so they could have nutrition. They'd only get water once a week, but now they have goats to help grow crops. They have goats to get milk and nutrition to people. So the Range Goats is not just a name. It's actually, there's more to it than just being funny and having pink clothes. I mean, there's some real deep thoughts in there, like he was saying. We're using golf to better people around the world, or hopefully better people around the world.
I feel like I was always told that golfers specifically didn't want people yelling, didn't want the party scene, wanted things in a very specific way. Were we just misjudging that, or do you think golf has changed in a way, Bubba,
No, you do know better.
To adapt to that?
Talked enough. So listen, the more people that yell, you can't. Yeah, just turn that off. So the more people that yell, I'm watching this clock go down, and you've talked the whole time. So the more people that yell, you can't, like, one person doesn't stand out. So when I played in the Ryder Cups, I always on the first tee get everybody to yell. And I started that tradition when I played, the 4 I played in. And so the more people yelling, nobody can stand out in the crowd, right? It's all just a blur, all the noise and the music and all the people yelling. So then you can just play golf.
But it's not like we have rock concerts and DJs at night after the event. Like, we had Imagine Dragons and Swedish House Mafia and Fisher. Like, we have big concerts at the events afterwards. During the event, we do have walk-up songs. Like, what is your walk-up song? Oh, the one, Your Rap.
You've never been on the course, have you?
I have. Your Rap. No, it's Your Rap. That's unbelievable. Honestly, that's unbelievable. No, Bubba is actually a rapper, and he has his song. Are you going to spit a few bars for us?
I could. 16 bars, actually.
Okay. So there are walk-up songs, and it's fun. And we have an MC and announcing the guys. It's good. But on the course, there's like a steady stream of music. Like it's not like
It's not
you know
loud or anything
AC/DC.
like that, yeah.
It's not crazy. It's just like a steady stream of music, which I agree it takes out some of the heckle, like the individual hecklers. But it's fun.
So yeah, you don't have to be as quiet as some tournaments.
That's right. But if you look at like the Waste Management Open, which players love playing in, on the
I played
PGA
it
Tour.
every year I could.
Right.
Yeah,
So
100%.
so it's not, and that's like a different environment than what we have. But
Let's go to the next question. We're running out of time.
Is there an idea that's too crazy, or is everything? If I told you, Bubba, your caddies should be goats, and you should just strap a bag to. Like, is there an idea that's too crazy, or is everything on the table?
The beauty of this is a startup business, right? It's a startup business, and we're going with it. It's 4 years in. There's nothing off the table. We can throw out any idea. Now we might backtrack and say that's a little out there, but we've looked at almost everything. We've thought about everything, and every team's different. All 13 teams, they're going to look at life differently. So everybody's coming up with crazy ideas.
Is there a crazy idea that jumps out? Is there something you've thought about?
Specific question. I mean, caddies are a critical part. We should just. I mean, caddies are game changing. You know, in terms of psychologists. Like if everyone knew, I get it like an inside look.
But if there's a sponsor that was going to have electronic,
I'm terrified of what we're going to have to hear here.
Is there a number that makes caddies go?
No, but we do have an AI caddy, agent caddy with Salesforce that for fans.
Yeah, for fans.
Which is kind of fun. Yeah.
Okay, so
We use lasers.
So is there anything we wouldn't do? We want to keep the integrity of the sport, you know. And if you come to our event, like nothing messes with the integrity of the sport. You know, we partner with the RNA on agronomy outside the U.S. and then with the USGA in the U.S. and Mexico. Like we have really sophisticated rules officials. I mean, we take the sport of golf extremely seriously, and we take the sport a lot more seriously than we take ourselves. We do understand our role and our mission to grow this game around the world, and we take that very seriously. So are there things, if they disrupt the sport, would we do them? No, we wouldn't. But we've talked about some stuff that's
inside the ropes. We're
pure.
Tradition. Yeah, we're pure.
Bubba, I know you're a big sports fan. Your wife played in the W. You own a minor league baseball team. In the past couple days, you were at the Giants game. I saw you on the Knicks game yesterday. Are you constantly trying to crib ideas? Are you going to events and thinking, you know what, this really works? Maybe we'll do that in LIV, or maybe we'll do that with the Blue Wahoos in Pensacola. How often are you kind of thinking in that way when you're going to sporting events?
I'm always thinking minor league baseball. How do you get fans to show up, right? You're trying to attract the fans. You're trying to get the people there. So when it came to the name and the meaning behind the name and the logo and all the things, I wanted fans to get behind it. I've always been pink, so pink obviously was going to be my color. But yeah, so I try to use minor league baseball, how we get fans involved and get the fans energetic. And I'm a huge NBA fan, so I've always go to NBA games, and I love the atmosphere because you're so close. And golf is the other one that's that close. So yeah, I'm always trying to get ideas and different things that we can do and get better at.
I want to ask you actually about the pink. Some golfers, I think, have done a really good job of kind of specifically branding themselves in some way with some IP. Tiger with the red shirts is a perfect example. I think for most golf fans, they see a pink driver, right? They're associating it immediately. Oh, that's Bubba Watson. How conscious was that? Was that something you thought about because you wanted to have something that stuck out, or did it happen kind of more gradually over time?
Gradually. When I was a young kid and started getting in college, I was always the longest. And so pink driver shaft, I got True Temper to build me a pink driver shaft, just to be funny. And then when I made it to the PGA Tour in 2006, how do I want to give back? I started giving back in 2002 when I first turned pro, but I was on the mini tours. And I started sponsoring a women's college golf tournament. And so it just kind of grew from there. And then I went to Ping, John Solheim at Ping, and I said, I want to do a pink driver. And he said, tell me why. And so I gave him this whole business plan of like how we're going to give to charity and how we're going to do things. And we built a gait lab to see deficiencies in walking at the Phoenix Children's Hospital. And the other part of the money went to building a children's hospital in my hometown of Pensacola, Florida. And so, yeah, there was reasons behind it, but it's stuck with me now, and everybody knows me as that. Kind of like the visor, but yeah, the pink drivers. Anytime we sell the pink drivers, it's all for a cause and all for a reason. Yeah.
We're basically out of time, Scotty. I want to end with you. You're 10 months into this job. I'm curious if there's one thing you've learned over these 10 months that you would have liked to have told yourself on day one to have made the process a little easier. What would that be?
I would have told myself that you're not possibly in your life ever going to believe how much fun you're going to have in this time. And so enjoy it while you're going.
That's awesome. Bubba, Scott, thank you very much.
Thank you.